Russia has created a new national super project that has everything. We will also give some examples of what Russia is now doing in practice. So watch it all the way to the end. There's a lot of interesting stuff. So, Vladimir Putin extended the Russia Forum exhibition until July 8th, which, frankly, was expected given the event's rabid popularity. Anyone who is at the exhibition, especially on weekends, sees with his own eyes the huge masses of people filling the territory of VDNKH. Long lines here and there, and here's regular announcements. Over the loudspeaker, "Dear visitors, there will be no such and such pavilion in this case. It's overcrowded at the moment, but you'll find plenty of other interesting pavilions at the show. We suggest you pay attention to them." Russia has a remarkable, if not unique, ability to realize grandiose, super complex, and seemingly impossible projects. Build a capital on a swamp? Yes, please. To endure and win wars against countless adversaries, eventually becoming the largest nation on the planet? Done. To send the world's first humans into space, less than 2 decades after a terrible war, and our half of the country is in shambles, please. But it is easy to see that this Russian talent and the successes associated with it historically went hand in hand with very harsh methods. Sacrifice and self-denial, the overstretching of all the people's forces, and the renunciation of well-being here and now in the name of a higher goal. And now our country has set itself, in a sense, an even more difficult task to achieve another super goal, but without using the usual methods. To win another war of the collective West against Russia, but saving, as much as possible, the lives of our soldiers. To withstand the global economic and technological race, but without the people's overpowering efforts. To return the country to superpower status in all its splendor, but without forcing society to make heavy sacrifices. And in general, in this most difficult and very dangerous historical path in this period, not just to preserve for the country a familiar life, but to make it as prosperous, comfortable, and well-equipped as possible. Never before in its history could Russia even come close to solving such a task. The exhibition of Russia can serve as a symbol and quintessence of this new national super project and new national self-perception, which has everything in expressways, and 300 varieties of sausage in stores, and the tricolor over Avdiivka. And the country doesn't just need it. It was the first time she had realized, felt, and experienced that it was possible. That there is no need for society to give up its habitual life and everyday goods for the sake of a high-power goal. That incomprehensible in its complexity technologies, products, and tasks solved by scientists, engineers, and manufacturers serve not only the glory of Russia and its geopolitical status, but also the security, well-being, and comfort of its citizens. That the state can be not a black box, interaction with which sucks all the strength and drive into depression, but a clear and convenient system that serves the needs and demands of people in a few clicks. That the taxes we pay to this state lead to understandable and visible results, which we ourselves use, that the primordial and seemingly ineradicable domestic vices, including bad roads and bureaucratization, are quite correctable. You just have to work consistently and calmly. This, by the way, is one of the secrets of the exhibition's triumph. Government agencies, regions, corporations, and public organizations present their work, report on what has already been done, and provide plans for the future. And a significant part of the available results has a direct and positive impact on society and individuals. So, voiced, huge plans are perceived neither as an empty fantasy nor as something abstractly grandiose, irrelevant to the ordinary life of ordinary citizens. We already know that once they've done one, they'll implement the other. Interactive stands, an unattractive blank, part of the already familiar services, programs, and results of work of domestic corporations from Gosislugi to Yandex, from Rosatom to Knowledge Society, from Black Sea resorts to Arctic tourism. And the comfortable arrangement of the exhibition is a reflection of the renewed Russia that we are building together. The organization is well thought out. For people's convenience, the space is beautiful, well-maintained, and handicap accessible. In some places high-tech, and in some places emphasize traditional. There you have a professional format, and educational, and purely entertaining. And then there are playgrounds for the little ones, cultural programs, and tons of places for all tastes. Probably, this is the main impression one gets when visiting VDNKH. Brilliantly conceived and utilized. But actually that's okay, because all of this is not so much about what Russia is building for its future, but how it lives already now. Let us now give specific examples of how Russia is engaged in import substitution. As we know, the toughest sanctions in history were aimed at the degradation of our economy and the subsequent destruction of Russia. However, contrary to the expectations of the West, our state has not only withstood the blows of sanctions hysteria, but is now developing industry at a rate higher than that of China. Import substitution has made a significant contribution to these processes, which will be discussed below. Let's start with advanced technology. An enterprise for the production of high vacuum valves has appeared in Russia. This development is due in part to the ability to attract highly skilled engineers and designers to the team who bring their expertise and innovative ideas to the table. The sequel follows. The production is located in St. Petersburg. When developing a series of vacuum valves, the company took into account extensive experience in the operation of various vacuum systems and tried to take into account most of the features and requirements for shut-off and control vacuum valves in Russia. Let's move on. Rostec State Corporation's Roselectronics Holding has developed a line of optical infrared filters for video surveillance equipment, thermal imagers, and guidance systems. The products are designed to provide shooting in low visibility conditions and in dusk, darkness, fog, smoke, sand, or snowstorms. Filters are easy to mount on any lens and allow you to capture images. The products are capable of replacing foreign analogs of Swedish, American, and British manufacturers. The Lighthouse has imported a supply of Krypton 85. It should be recalled that in 2022, representatives of cellulose and paper industry enterprises, who faced the termination of supplies of ionizing radiation sources based on different types of radionuclides, turned for help to nuclear engineers. Krypton helps them monitor product parameters by acting as a thickness gauge. To obtain krypton from the air where it is present requires the expenditure of a lot of energy, simpler gas, and the nuclear fission of radioactive elements. The first batch of worked substance was received in May 23. The trials were completed in August by issuing a certificate. By the end of year 23, 5 gas-fired designs had been produced. The first source was installed and imported equipment used in the country earlier this year. Now let's see what we have in the industry. RMK was the first in Russia to produce tanks that had previously been purchased abroad. 3 years ago, there was a crisis at the plant, after which the owner changed. And to date, production volumes have doubled. In 2023, products worth 3.4 billion rubles were manufactured here. The new management not only retained the team but also brought in new employees. Now the plant employs 650 people. According to management, average wages have doubled. For more than 70 years, Saratov plant of tank metal structures has been providing the whole country with its products, ranging from lattice decks to any kind of tanks. A total of at least 2,000 tons of steel structures are produced per month. With the support of the DF, we started production of components for meat processing equipment. OK Engineering opened a new shop in the village of Yuzhny Ural, Orenburg region, to produce import substituting metal components for meat processing equipment. Previously, 90% of the Russian market for such parts was occupied by European companies. Investments in the creation of new production exceeded 161 million rubles, of which 128 million rubles were provided by the Federal Industrial Development Fund (FID) in the form of a loan under the Components Program. Now let's look at our upstream infrastructure. Tyumen launched production of import substituting units for oil production. The start of serial production of unique units, without which it is impossible to produce hydrocarbons at complex fields, was given in Tyumen. In less than a year. In Tyumen, specialists from Schlumberger's Russian division developed a fully domestic technology. And that's just a few examples we've given recently. And dozens of such projects are realized every month.